Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Max here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Isaac, and he's selling his Amazon Associates and advertising business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Isaac, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
It's good. I'm excited to hear about your business. So give a brief summary of the business. It's an Amazon Associates and advertising business in multiple niches, created in November 2017. The average monthly revenue for the business is $9,680 and makes an average of $9,410 per month in net profit. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 47883 to learn more about the business. Included in the sale is the primary domain and all the site contents files, 2 additional domains used as 301 redirects, social media accounts, SOPs, and freelancer details. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, could you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Sure. So about 10 years ago, I started taking on SEO clients. I was probably about 16 years old, just experimenting. And then I helped local businesses here in the New Jersey, New York area. And I was really successful in helping those businesses get top rankings. And then I figured, hey, I'm pretty good at this SEO thing. So then I decided to launch my own digital marketing agency. And I ran that for a few years. Around 2011, I discovered affiliate marketing, and then I built a few really small niche websites. They were earning a couple $100 a month. And at that point, I started scaling back on client work because I realized, hey, I can build my own online business and create an asset that has way more value than the contract work I was doing. I was really experimenting with different affiliate networks, trying to figure out this whole thing and what works in SEO and what doesn't. And, it's funny because when I think about it, back then, I thought I knew everything. And fast forward 10 years in SEO and you realize how much you didn't know and how much you've learned over the years.
And how did you come up with the idea to start this particular one?
I actually was looking at many different niches and I couldn't decide on just one. I wanted to create something really big and I wanted to cover many different topics. So I decided to go into something that's going to give me the flexibility of covering different sub niches.
And why did you decide to choose this business model? What's so good about it in your opinion?
In my opinion, affiliate has always been superior to other models. For example, in my experience, creating ad websites can be great long term, but it could take a really long time and you'd need significantly more content to scale up. Affiliate websites have always paid better, specifically with, Amazon affiliate, being in certain categories, you can make more money. So I went into that and the results, showed that when you create the right kind of content in the right categories, you can really capitalize on that.
And how does this primarily make money?
So this business primarily makes money from Amazon affiliate. We also just introduced sponsored posts last month in April. And we also just signed up with Izoic Ads. So we're able to make money from that as well.
And how would you go about sort of getting the sponsored posts? Is that people getting in contact with you?
Yeah, so we just actually set up a Write For Us page only a month ago. And we started getting a lot of emails. We used to get, without even having this page, people used to contact us, but we were more focused on creating content. As the business grew and the metrics for the domain grew really strong, more and more emails started coming through, especially after creating that one page. And we started pitching, different options. And we quickly found out that large brands are willing to pay a good amount of money for one sponsored post, just getting their brand out there and getting recognition.
How do you go about creating the content for your site? Is there employees? Is there freelancers that you work with?
So back in 2017, I actually set up a specific template that I feel is very good in the way that it covers the topic in detail. And we've been using that for the last 2.5 years. I have a VA that helps me. It goes through everything, making sure that when the content comes in, that everything we wanted covered as far as the sections are there. And when I contact writers, I let them know that this is what's necessary in order for their work to be approved. We need to cover this, and that based on the SOPs we created and, the content that we want to see.
Are all those people sort of aware of the sale? Do you think that they might be able to work with a new buyer, or are they staying with you?
I had conversations with the VA and the main writer we have right now, and they are very willing to continue with the new buyer. They have worked with me for a very long time on other projects as well, and they want to see this project continue to be successful.
I think you mentioned before this call that there's a lot of content already created on the site, but there's also a lot of content that's been created that hasn't been yet posted on the site. Is that right?
Yeah, so part of what I did is create a lot of content so I have content for the rest of the year. So right now on draft, there are about close to 70 posts or buyer's guides, individual reviews, different types of content that can help us increase the keywords and help us with more rankings. At the moment, I'm more focusing on improving what we already have, but potential buyer would have a lot of content for the rest of the year.
Where does the majority of your traffic come from?
I would say it's at least 90% organic from Google and other search engines. We also have some referral traffic. I believe it's about 8% and some direct traffic. Those numbers could be a little bit off, but I believe organic is about 90%.
Do you do anything currently in terms of marketing, or is it more just posting regular content?
So what I do at this moment is post 2 to 3 new guides per month. I'd rather put out better content than have to go back and have to fix it. I discovered that when you perfect a guide and make sure you have everything in there, you don't have to go back and kind of fix it, which is, in my experience, a lot of my colleagues have to do with their businesses, and that takes a lot of time. It's also something we're doing, so I know that through personal experience that you want to put out something amazing first time out, then you have to go back and fix, and that takes a lot of time. So part of what I'm doing now, well, mostly what I'm doing now, is go back and look at every single guide and make sure it's the best thing out there, because that's what's going to guarantee us to be successful long term before we put out new stuff.
You've briefly covered it there, but could you go into sort of detail on the amount of work that you do for this business, like week to week?
Sure. So pretty much the same thing, just keyword research, a lot of that. I do a lot of keyword research to make sure that I find any good opportunities for new content creation. But luckily, we have so many ideas already. As mentioned before, we have a lot of content we haven't even posted yet. So mostly just publishing new content, managing the team on a weekly basis to revise the older guides, adding more images to each post is important for the visual part of it and user experience. The basic routine stuff every business should be doing as part of the upkeep of a business this size.
Is there anything that you learned when you created this business that you might apply to future businesses?
I learned a lot, actually. This project made me learn more than any other project because I had to go back and see what works and what doesn't. The biggest thing I learned is not to rush the content, not to put anything out that doesn't cover the topic A to Z, to not publish content super fast. Then you're not giving yourself the chance to make sure that it's really good, and to continuously update your content, because that's what really gives us, better rankings.
Why are you deciding to sell the business instead of keeping it and growing it?
So I'm deciding to sell the business because it's one of my largest and most successful businesses. But at the same time, I do have a number of other businesses in different spaces, and those require a fairly heavy capital investment. And I'm looking to use the proceeds from the sale of this business to push my other ventures in the right direction. However, by no means do I think that this business is topped out. I personally think that the sky's the limit with this one for the right individual. And I recently teamed up with a partner who's looking to pull our money together and finish out these other projects that I started, but I never saw them through.
If you were to keep the business, what are some of the ways that you might try and grow it? How could a new buyer grow it?
I actually have a 4-step plan that I was thinking about. The first thing I would do is focus on creating more content. Specifically, since there's already so much affiliate content, so to speak, I would focus on creating informational content to grow out their earnings coming from the advertising network that I mentioned before. The second thing I would do is post more individual reviews of specific products that have low competition. In my experience, I found that those rank pretty fast, as early as 1 month, as late as 3 months. And if you create buyer's guides, I find that these take a lot longer to rank. So that's going to be a good focus, individual reviews. And as mentioned before, we already have a lot of those on draft that haven't been posted. So potential buyer would have at least a few months of content ready for them to publish. Third, I would focus on increasing sponsored posts. As I mentioned before, we've been getting more and more requests for those. And as we only started doing them last month in April, I see this being a lucrative option as the business has aged and has really strong metrics, and it makes it a viable option to also work with agencies who have been reaching out to us and larger brands who are contacting us directly. Finally, probably the most important, I would reach out to companies directly and secure direct affiliate partnerships with higher payouts or better commission structures than you can find with the Amazon affiliate program. And that alone can increase their earnings quite a bit.
That all sounds really good. What do you think are some of the biggest risks associated with a site like this?
I would say the biggest risk, to be honest, is already priced in. As everybody knows, the Amazon Associates program has reduced its rates. I believe that, my business specifically is bottomed out. Nonetheless, Google algorithms can always be a thing. I believe this business is very strong, so I don't see it being affected much by an algorithm update, being that we're going and revising every single piece we have on the website, every piece of content, and really making sure it's amazing.
And if someone did come in to buy it, would you be willing to commit to a non-compete?
Sure, I'm willing to sign a non-compete, and I would just want to disclose that I have 2 other small niche websites, and I'm willing to have the buyer look at the content for those websites.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not a problem. And how much support would you be willing to offer new buyers? Are you available for email or Skype?
Being that this is a large business, I am willing to offer 60-day email support. But on top of that, I'm also willing to do 1 weekly Skype calls, 4 calls a month on Skype to really help, the new owner get in there and feel like they're doing, help them out and really get in there with them.
Are you open to negotiating something like an earn-out?
Yeah, I prefer a full price offer, but I would be willing to talk about it for sure.
Yeah, no problem. And this sort of section that we do, we like to just give people a bit of advice who are maybe looking to start businesses. So what advice would you give that you wish you knew when you started?
Take it slow, focus on one guide at a time. Don't rush to scale up really quick because, as I mentioned before, you're going to have to go back and fix some things. Nowadays, Google's expectations are much higher than they used to be. So put out your best foot forward, put out the best guide you have. Don't rush to create hundreds of guides right away. That's something that I wish someone told me when I started, and I realized that along the way. Now that I have a lot of content, it's kind of this thing that it's great, but you have to make sure that every one of them is great, and that's what I'm working on.
Was there any software or tools that really helped you when you started running this?
From time to time, I use different keyword research tools like Ahrefs and Ubersuggest, and just kind of cherry picking ideas that I believe will be great for this business. The beautiful part about this business is that it spans 5 different categories or sub niches, so to say. So there's a lot of room for growth, but also you have the freedom and flexibility of really reviewing almost any product across many different niches.
And the last 2 questions from me. Putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think that your business is a business worth buying?
So as I mentioned before, you want to take your time with scaling, but this really is a scalable business. Again, going back to the fact that it covers many different topics, you can really scale in any direction you want. I believe that there's room for growth here, specifically on the informational side. We have hundreds of buyer's guides, but the right person could come in and just create a lot of educational content supporting those buyer's guides, making this a really large business with, I would say, over 1,000 pages, and really getting that ad money to be as much as the affiliate earnings. And that could really make this business even more stable.
Lastly, is there anything else that you would like to share that I might have missed?
No, I would just say that I believe that this business is not at the ground level, but has a lot more room to go. Unfortunately for me, I have to divert my attention to the other businesses, which I haven't put much attention to. And so since they require a lot of capital, having to part with this business to move forward in my other businesses.
Yeah, well, thank you for telling us all about it, and I look forward to seeing how it goes for you.
Thank you, Max. I appreciate it.
No problem. Okay, everyone, thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 47883. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business, and I'll see you in the next episode.